great time throughout the upper bracket quarters and semis. That does not go for Sentinels. TSM had tough opponents to play against. Built by gamers, I would rank higher than Renegades. Sentinels struggling, for example, on Bind. Ascent didn't work that well in the end. So those things really make me scratch my head and ask myself, is that surely going to be that easy for them? We're going to find out. It's time for Sentinels versus TSM. Split it is, and it's about to be a banger match right ahead.
TSM go without his Cypher. Cutler pulling the Omen out from the B-side hole, and it's already not worked at all. Sentinels clean push into the B-side, and they will have it in the bag.
I mean, this is pretty much gifted access. There was no bouncer waiting back there on the side of B, and now it needs to be the retake capability coming in from Team Solo Mid. As Sentinels have all the info and all the time in the world to just play as careful and patient as they'd like to. There comes the Omen smoke, and Dapper just waits until he has the right kind of peek for it. In the meantime, Wardell finds one. Hayes is joining that party, and TSM is starting with the retake capability. Left, right, and centers, the players are joining, and Sentinels only can rely onto two, but that is going to be the Cypher making it work. Sage is being saved, Vapor with 4! What a play that comes in through the Cypher, who saves the day!
Dapper on the traditional Cypher lurk, playing it ready for the rotate to come in, and as a result, he is there for the backstab. Sentinels are eaten alive.
That's a very, very good metaphor for that. They legitimately got eaten alive in that.
And it was the timing as well. It was just perfect timing from Dapper because he comes in right as they're set up trying to worry about that player who they ice vault into the back corner of the site, right? So they're all, trying to defuse. Hayes is sticking the bomb. Nobody is paying any attention to him as he just casually walks in against 3 frags.
And I'm genuinely not a fan of this anti-Cypher sort of thing, though. They have made it work in the past with that, especially with very strong defense side relying on aggression. Sinatra, in the meantime, is just going a little bit more faster, picking up 2 with ease. Not a big problem here for them. And so Sentinels, they most likely will find themselves around number 2. I think there's nothing too crazy here, TJ.
Yeah, no, it's a clean anti-eco, but I did like that little bit of an Overwatch turn from Sinatra. Wardell will be trying to close out this round, get a few exit frags, does nail down Sinatra. It is kind of interesting. I'm of course, diehard FPS fan and caster, and I notice different things in movement depending on what games players come from, which you would think would be a little bit crazy. But like the way Sinatra changed his aim there in mid with the quick turn to the second frag, reminds me a lot of how Quake players aim and not how Counter-Strike players aim. So,
Quake.
As somebody who didn't watch a whole lot of Overwatch, that's kind of cool for me to say.
The matter of fact that you're even coming up with Quake is amazing to me. I would have never thought.
You know, Quake champion.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean,
ooh, a railgun down mid.
That's the first one fallen. Sentinels are losing everything. Fine. Shazam holds a very tight angle. That's a good night for Hayes. That allows them a bit more off control, as I'm not quite sure if they have the Brimstone aware on their right-hand side. That smoke from the road that comes in. He saw the barrel and shows Shazam falls. Time to fall back and take the classic bit of control you have.
I like this reset here. I want to just highlight again that the B-side hold is not a Cypher. It's the Omen that Cutler's brought to that B-side hold. He's now pushed aggressive through it. We talked about the aggression on TSM's defense. He's coming in on the flank through sewers. He's actually cancelled that going vents as Sentinels take control of the A side.
So, slowly and steady, they've taken the control off of that. Very interesting to see what kind of retake potential is there for TSM. We would need to see what utility Omen and Brim got to offer for us, as in the meantime, Sick most definitely hurt the player back there in CT. It's time for Walda to dash in and find the entry, open and pry open that door to finally get access to where the spike is waiting, and awaiting to be defused. Sentinel still remains very defensive on the side. Sabrosa goes in first, and Mike just meets 2 in the process. Soms is the first one taking him down. Sick is just taking a long way around. And that seems to be the defense that has not worked so well. Cutler falls, and Sick is proving the point that Sentinels is not to be stopped at the moment. It's the 3rd round, and that retake potential just didn't work out at all.
That was a really fun reset. After that initial pick comes out in mid, the second that first warps goes over to TSM, Sentinels were forced to kind of trade into that. They needed to essentially get something back. And the second they do that, they go, okay, we've pulled a rotate over from the A side. And maybe it's not a full rotate, it wasn't, but we've disrupted their positioning. So when the A hit comes through, TSM members aren't ready for it. And Sentinels are able to quickly exploit the fast positioning they forced because they gave up a kill in mid in their trade. That's really cool to me. Good heads up.
Brilliant reply here in the meantime by Sentinels, who are aware about the economic situations of their opponent, which could have caused them to push for a bit of A control. That's the kind of reply you look for from Dapper. And that's patience.
Full default from Sentinels. They're not committing to anything. They did bring that spike over to A as a full. But their most aggressive push here is this mid-shove by Shazam. Shot caller and Dorper for Sentinels.
Oh, that's just nasty. Absolutely in the face. TSM needs such an opening. And that is Wardell.
Right, so we talked about Wardell's kind of roam role on the defense. He's back on the defense right now.
I know exactly where you are.
And this is obviously giving him a good bit of information. Haste can deny a slight bit, but this is just a temporary block. The Sentinels has no real problem taking the room. They had a few casualties here, as they were aware about the economic situation of their opponent, and obviously the closer range advantage they would have in those fights, they went a little bit more patient. Now Wardell is not really done yet, as he finds Shazam. That's gonna be Jet going ham, but not for the nice. And this is Sentinels, who don't look that shaky at all. 4-0 is just a solid start on a map, and this is the crucial part for me, TJ, that is so defense heavy.
It was again because of the information they got from the defending TSM players. The reason the call goes to go A there is because Wardell gets a kill over on the B side. It's the second round in a row where Sentinels get a kill and TSM go, oh, Wardell's over there. That means we can push A. Because there's a double stack hard committed to the B site, if they're able to get progress and traction from mid, there can only be one or two players at most holding A, and Sentinels are able to exploit the positioning they know. Very good, as you say, on this map as well, given Split's legacy. I can't wait for them to try a little bit more B-heavy approach. Just because TSM are doing this Omen hold, and Omen's real good right now, don't get me wrong, I just really don't believe in Cypherless B-hold on Split.
Yeah, that's a very good point you have. Cypher always is very capable of doing so. Shazam fought walking slowly sideways to pay off. Oh, that could have worked. Nope.
Just 1v1 challenge.
You can't do it like that. In the meantime, Sinatra finds Hayes as he joins the site with the fuse. More or less high ground, can't help him right there. Shot whiff, but this is the ult that might make the difference. Wardell is whiffing shots he would usually hit when he's sleeping. And Sentinels gotta make it work right now only with 2. But we've seen in the past that this combination can make it work quite well. Now it's even equalized. And that site becomes vulnerable. Finally Wardell hitting a shot. That's the first. The second still not granted. Dapper is hitting another one. And this means that this is a big opportunity to get a 5th. Again and again and again, they find a way to deny access. They find a way to deny any possibility of a defuse. But this time, Drone might get it.
I'm holding my breath, but I think he's got it. Drone, on that final retake, I just want to call out how well he played it. It wasn't a flash round the corner, he didn't have that left, but because he threw the aftershock at the angle he did, there was literally only 2 options for the player stuck in the corner. Sick could either push around the corner and challenge, which is why he initially held. When Sick didn't push around the corner and challenge, he had to be tucked inside that tight cubby. Drone knows that, pre-aims the angle, peeks, easy round.
Absolutely.
So, very good play. I particularly highlight, of course, Dapper's huge save, but it was Drone's just calm and collected, methodical re-entry that closes out the round.
I don't know about you, TJ, I was a little bit confused about Wardell's performance in the rounds. It can't be a one-time thing, don't get me wrong there at all, but this man usually hits shots with eyes closed.
He did. Shazam tried to 1v1 ult challenge him in mid and just got dumpstered. So, a little bit of Wardell still in there. But after that, he was Omen blinded, running away. Everything was messy.
Still got it.
That is a beautiful move. TSM taking a good bit of control. Combination with Breach can take a lot of room, but that little bot is enough distraction. Sinatra gets up Rosa at the right kind of time.
Really well played on the timing there by Sinatra. Peeking with the bot, obviously you have to choose. It was helped by the fact that Brimstone was in the middle of trying to drop his smokes. So he was trying to do 3 different things at the same time.
Take a look at that, TJ. That room they achieve is so good, but Ace is so aware of it. He has not the right weapon for it, but can do it all. 2 frags he gets. And that
Why
might
isn't that clean?
Second round.
Why is nobody checked the top of ramp? Hayes should not be allowed to stand there. That's actually a massive mistake from Sentinels. They had complete control of every other area, and nobody was even looking at the top of ramp.
I fully agree. I was very confused when I saw that because this was for me like the no-brainer thing to do. I mean, you check all the angles, duh, but in that situation, seemingly forgetting about the possibilities where your opponent can't stand.
I have to assume it's the first kill that was gotten. I have to assume that it was just because that opening kill did go over to the defenders, and you kind of lost the player who would normally check that angle. That's like the only thing I can think of. They have their set take for the site, and that didn't include... Oh no, our first player died.
So absurd.
Look at it.
This is really absurd. I would have thought that it would easily take him out, and then the A side was open for business. You just have to run for the doors, but 2-4. And Sentinels, a little bit sloppy
from Sentinels. But we're back in. Shazam opening this up by just running into sight.
That's thrown tonight. That is a ult totally thrown away. And he tried his best to make it work. Was worth a try. Was worth a try, but I mean, Sentinels can still get quite well on the side of TJ. They could hypothetically get the bomb down, and they do so.
I have planted the spike.
Very well done on the initial hold.
You will not kill my allies.
Drone made an absolute hero play. Sentinels are going to be in a little bit of economic trouble if they don't close this out. 2 HP on Zombs doesn't make that easy.
Oh,
Enemy removed.
Falls towards Dapper. Has a standard chance as well. The back and forth has started. Sentinels with a brilliant start as TSM finds a way back into the game. Nope, the bomb down is helping them with a few more dollars in the bank account.
Easy pickup. Sentinels had no post-plant positioning that round, which was no fault of their own. That was just drones doing. But TSM were able to rotate everyone in, have full control of Heaven, have full control of screens, have full control of ramp. So the Sentinels players' only opportunity to save that post-plant was to get really aggressive on one of the angles, right? If they could have shoved forward, caught out the players pushing through ramp, they would have been able to obliterate the ramp players, and then maybe you turn on the rest, and you get a 2v2 and another 2v2, and that's winnable.
Don't let up.
Which is why they played aggressive. It was the right call. But TSM win the gunfights, force the 3v2.
My camera is
One thing that's worth mentioning about TSM is that they have never went double digits in any game of this tournament. Not once. So if they want to keep up the streak, they might just continue to do so. Shazam again in the slow warp, but I think he has learned his lesson. Now, it's the other way around. Wardell falls as though he bangs him through the wall, and this is an opening towards the B site that could become costly for TSM at the moment.
Sentinels. Ooh. We didn't catch that kill, but that was Sinatra grabbing Sabrosa up here inside Heaven. This gives them the round to get the second frag.
It's a little bit weird what they do with the room checking. Some corners of those are
there shouldn't have been
fairly
two players in there. Drone shouldn't have been where he was. So I understand why he didn't go that way.
Still, I mean, the player rotating from CT and coming from the doorway, that could have still been an opportunity. Either way, the bomb is down, and TSM The breach ult is exactly what you want in such a scenario, and it seems like they're communicating exactly onto that. There it comes on site. The wall got a break, and then you got a good opportunity because they're right now isolating the ramp players. This is brilliant. This is a great opening and a great chance. Sit behind side is concussed, and that is another one falling. Shazam still does a brilliant job on it, and that wall comes too late. Haste might have not found it yet, as Sums knows what he does. Comes around the corner in the right time, and I love the ult. But then Shazam sneaks in at the right time, finds the right frag with his operator. There it goes.
I'm really impressed by Haze's wall now. Didn't win him the round, so, you know, but I'm really impressed by Haze's wall, just to split the site and get himself 2 1v1s. I talked about it previously, but when you're in a 1vx situation like that, the goal is to get as many effective 1v1s as you can.
Yeah.
Because you can win those 1v1 gunfights, you can't win the 1v2 gunfights.
Cover,
And he very effectively isolated the Pete. Really good use of Sage in the middle of combat. That's one of the harder things to do with that character. And he finds the window off of the reload from the player playing Billboard, knows he has the time to throw down the wall, then peek out again.
Extremely enjoyable. I fully agree on that. Very good active use of the wall. In the meantime, duel off their operators once more heads onto middle.
If 2 AWPers find in the forest, nobody lands a shot.
Sounds like a very old British saying.
This B-hold is still so awkward. Because they don't have Cypher, Wardell has to worry about the shove onto site.
And I mean, this man stands alone.
Sentinels don't have anyone. They have a late lurk. Dapper again going B main, but he's going to late lurk. He's going to play that slow. They're going to shove through mailroom first, then he's going to punish the shove.
There you see Ice joining. A perfect slow orb, but Zoms is falling, and now it's down to Wardell to hold every one of those individuals up from getting any further access. Saying so, Shazam he took another one down with that one, and suddenly it seems like that operator is paying off. Warless fast movement is giving him another extra life, as TSM might have just found a brilliant round with the force that Warless provides. 4-5 here, and the thing is about TSM, I don't know how you think about this, TJ, but when you have such a cypherless approach, I would have expected a bit more B main aggression overall. We hardly have seen that so far. It's actually fairly passive TSM plays.
It is really hard to shove through B main. So
True,
I think the way they're attempting to punish it, like even without Cypher traps, you are running into a kill zone. So if anything slows you down, you're in huge trouble. So don't full commit B rush, maybe do it on an eco to see what happens. So I think what they're trying to do with the B split is the right way to punish it, but when Wardell can just do that, it doesn't matter.
It absolutely doesn't, TJ. Not a single second where it looked like he was breaking a sweat. Sinatra taking out Hayes.
Here comes the party!
And that rocket fuse... That's a one-for-one trade, to say it that way. Sentinels could have benefited from a proper kill.
Get out of my way!
With that Hellfire coming in. That should be round number 5. It's not done yet, though. Sentinels get it with Dipper. And this is so brilliantly done. It's the aggression that once more pays off. You know, saying, I just walk into heaven, I just walk into balcony like that, and ta-da, 6 rounds for Sentinels, hardly having anything right there for themselves, and still making it look easy.
Very well done. Sentinels didn't have any economy at all coming into that round. It was like sheriffs and that's it. So, a massive economic blow to TSM. That's going to put them on literally 400 credits across the board. Sentinels will be coming into the round at a similar economy.
The auto shotty not making it work, and that's fair and square. Very easily done, opening up the door on the A site. Breaking through there. Shazam also making work of his smoke, which means Sentinels should not struggle too much in finding such a round. As Haste, Cutler, and Co. struggle to find any openings. Obstacle will be Shazam, somebody you don't really want to have in a firefight against yourself, no one anyone.
The shoulder peek to bait out Shazam's op. That was so mean.
Yeah, but I mean,
They jump around the corner, just jiggle peeking it vertically because the air movement is slightly faster. So Shazam gets baited out, fires the shot early. And then they know he's on the angle. They don't actually shove him down. but they completely invalidate his hold.
In the meantime, he could still quickly shift over to the other side with.
Yep.
his
He's just
ability.
worried about the backstab. I
Understand.
actually really appreciate the call by TSM to not go for that, because, you know, you can really get into it, especially after you force Shazam to do this weird fight. I can 100% see the call going, we need to chase down Shazam. The TSM go, wait a second, we don't really have enough time on the spike. It is better if we just pull back and reset playing for next round. Oh my god, Wardell's doing the judge drop strat. He's gonna quick peek this with the AWP, and then if he misses the shot and there's a rush, he's got the judge to fall back to just spam the angle.
Yeah, and
That's
I mean,
super cool.
we know how amazing Judge is onto Jet, but Shazam says, I'm having none of that. You can take that one back. Dapper's moving for A. And he might just have a quite easy time there against Strone. As I say that, finds two with A's. No real obstacle for him. And the A side, held by an only bearded man, is working out fine. All locked, and the castle belongs to
Get out of
TSM.
my way!
Drone's just been nutty on that A-hold all game long. We had that round earlier where he pretty much solo won the round for TSM. I would go as far as to say Drone has won 3 out of 4 rounds for TSM. Because he was, don't forget, the retake over on that B site as well for that one round. Double res, this is a 5v5, nothing happened, sorry, 4v5, Sentinels. Down 2, thanks to Drone. Quick cast for you.
They have a good
Nice
time with it.
Will get planted very safe here, so this is all about post-plant for Sentinels. What can they get that lets them hold against the retake? Shazam is the first kind of prong of that.
If Shazam finds breach, this retake might be absolutely denied. And that's what matters, he does. Thrown out, and his ultimate coming down with it. As the haste flanks, Worldell whiffs the shot, and Zoms is capitalizing on that massively, which now leads to Sentinels having a man advantage for themselves. Cutler needs to push through that one, and might just find the punishment, but no, that's not the case. An 8-2-4, it all was relying on breach. And that, unfortunately, was the first man to fall in the fight.
Very well done, Sentinels. Off of the post-plant positioning that I was calling out, because they get their post-plant players so far forward, it doesn't even matter that they're at a player deficit, because you're functionally just taking the bomb site. So all the defensive positions in their favor, and that kind of calls into question Drone and TSM's initial decision to fall off of this side. Now they've got to take the sides for real, though. Massive lead starting things off for Sentinels.
The thing is, from the information I have gathered, which might be not enough sample size and not every single map from every qualifier and so on discussed, one thing that has to be mentioned is there was not a single occasion where TSM had such, let's say, worrying defensive site.
I mean, last time they played Sentinels. The TSM problem is that normally they get super aggressive, right? Normally they win their rounds because they shove super far forward and get so much map information that the attacking teams are cornered into these tiny sectors of the map. What's happening here is kind of the inverse. Because Sentinels themselves are playing very, very quick rounds at the start, they are poking in, they are forcing TSM to rotate, and they're getting the information as to what the TSM defensive hold is, and Sentinels still have 30 seconds to a minute left in the round where they can pull back, readjust their positioning, change what site they're taking. It's really, really good shot calling, and it's just a case of TSM playing against a team that can go toe-to-toe with them in terms of map knowledge and map communication. We did skip through a brief pause there. We will be getting into our first round of the second half. I want to see TSM clean up their... Oh my god, okay, I'll hold this thought.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting you would say that. So Rosa, opening things up for TSM, as our main focus is definitely shifting towards a site. TSM who needs to do a lot of work, and that is Cutler down. Shazam just continues to do so. He seems to be a big fan of the Ghost, as it's time to stop there. Was a little too greedy, but tried to hold him up a little longer. It depends if Sentinels got the wonderful grenade in the hands of their race. That could make a difference. Saying so, there it is, and Sinatra exactly knows what he's doing with that. Gets a bit of a heal, and now could become the pivotal tool to that retake, as I'm not quite sure if they know about the player who will pop out of window any second soon. That is Brimstone, who takes down 6. So Sabrosa does the job in the end with a triple, and Sentinels, nice try, but ain't it.
Okay, so what I was going to say is I want to see TSM adjust their adaptability. Right, they felt like they were over-committing to the rotates on the defense, and not really playing with the awareness of what Sentinels were doing across the map. And that's, again, a consequence of their lack of aggression, which is normally something they have a lot of. But we've already seen a change in that. Sabrosa finds the pick down mid, opens things up with a sick headshot, and then they instantly just shift off that. So, okay, Sabrosa, we're rolling off that pick. Round number 1 to TSM on
Camera taken.
To look for the cam. That is in such bad manner. You were shooting the entire wall, repainting it, and then that happened. TSM don't find the first frac. And Sentinels gotta play it with 4 here on the defense. I hardly doubt that this one is gonna work. Sinatra, yeah, got the bot. Also got the grenade for himself as well as a little blast pack. And the shift and the rotation might be right, but the thing I see here, TJ, is where the spike is landing.
Yeah, they've left it over towards A. I want to highlight that Sentinels did lose their only A defender, and they didn't rotate anyone over to A. They'll do this now as they realize that there's a fallback happening from TSM. But really good example of map information, where even though a lesser team might go, oh no, we need to like full commit to that A hold, they go, okay, but we still have a lot of people having contact over here, so let's keep our players away from the A side for as long as possible to respond to the contact.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately for Sentinels, they have no guns in this round, so it really won't matter. And also, TSM made the right play, committed where they found a pick, where they knew there were no Sentinels members because of the contacts they were having across the map.
Then again, what do you focus on first? We had the discussion. Sabrosa very happy that this splash pack is not exploding under his feet. And so Sentinels making it work with 2. Shazam has showed us what he can do with the Ghost, but not in this round. And this, if nothing else, Dapper most likely falling down. Wardell seals the deal, and this is the 6th round coming in for TSM. A team that had a very worrying start, had a very worrying beginning. I mean, 4 rounds in a row as an aggressor is fairly unusual, but they just might repeat the history.
Sentinels now getting pretty close here after a really, really good first half. You start to worry. This will be their first gun round. If they lose this, they're going to be knocked back into Econ Reset again. TSM are holding on to a couple of the half-bar guns. You have Spectre, you have Turbo Bulldog here.
Oh! Deja-vu, Shazam is again at it. Man, this guy is a beast on the operator. And absolutely nice everyone who just wants to get closer. Slap here, slap there. No access to A has been granted, as the bouncer says nah, and the bomb is heading back to sewers, as TSM got somewhere around 250 points of health on them at the moment. But look at Sabrosa.
Yeah, as ever, playing real aggressive in mid. I genuinely don't know how he's so close, given that Sick was literally just there. But Sick knows about it, or at least has an inkling. Oh no! His telekinesis fails him, and Shazam has his back to this angle that Sabrosa is ready to flank. Did just get the rotate, Cutler, I believe, taking up the position.
Get out of my way!
It's actually, in this case, Sabrosa successful! And now was Shazam failing his ult! How unusual is that? But in the meantime, he continues the madness with finding a triple, but that triple does not secure the round yet. It's 30 seconds left on the clock, and Sick is not able to find the rotator. This is access granted. The walls have been crushed right now by TSM. And the A side that looked so easy to defend for the moment has now totally swapped, all in favor of the aggressors, and those aggressors are taking the
Trick
mixed
shots.
ground, high and low. But do they know about the wall? They will find out right here, and it works in the end as Dapper gets the final kill on Sabrosa.
They absolutely knew about the wall. Dapper had heard the sound cue. He peeks aiming high, cleans up the angle. Double peek was really well executed as well. Talked about the jiggle peek earlier. This is just another case of really good fundamentals. That's the sort of thing that allows you to clean up those kills in the 1v2 situation.
That goes there.
Is when you're extra sure that your buddy behind your back is
Yes.
exactly synced up with you on the peak. Communication from top teams.
This goes here.
10 hours
Yes,
lost.
this should do.
You got it, Dapper.
Oh, this
No.
is a nice spot.
Yeah!
That took a while.
No, that's a one way. That's why it's so cool.
Yeah, obviously.
You throw it down. Absolutely worth the time.
Maggie
Oh my
couldn't pick it
God.
up in the meantime. Sick eliminates Sabrosa, but World Owls having none of that. Immediately going for the hunt, it finds its prey. TSM again on the aggressive route to take once more one of those A splits. Could work quite well. Drones on a ramp. They just look for it at the moment. The cam of Cypher though will give enough intel for an early rotation or not.
Wardell's onto the site, and there is no vision on him, but Dapper times that peak perfectly. He's just going to keep holding that alley even as he's saged out. This is now a retake game, but he's going to time his push very
Taken out.
And in combination with what Sinatra delivers, Sentinels might just get the defense working for themselves. Haste is getting caught on the flank, and now it's time for Drone to start
Just sticking it.
something about it. That must be a
Did he
disconnect.
not hear?
No, what?
He didn't hear it. He didn't hear the
He was not
initial tick.
Yeah, but he didn't react at all. I thought it looked like a disconnect
I don't think
suddenly.
he heard. I think he was out of range of the initial tick,
Oh,
or
no.
didn't hear it for some other reason. He should have. He was in range of the sound cue, I think.
I
Someone
believe
needs
so,
to
too.
shut up in his team comms. I don't know.
I mean, it was a round ago, TJ, where you talked about communication being good at things, so there you go.
Somebody communicating a little bit too much. Poor Drone. Despite a long list of huge plays on this map, on this game, he's been oftentimes the hero of TSM. That time, unable to read the full stick on the defuse.
And you talked about Sabrosa, that aggressive brimstone in mid, makes that work and makes it look easy. As though should have gotten the second, but then you suddenly get elevated and have no idea where you stand. Sentinels have lost their race, and this means no Sinatra for the round, and especially a very B-heavy approach for this second.
Sentinels, off of that initial trade, are just actually really well. They're double pushing B. So TSM, if they weren't here, this would be a good push. As they are here, it's also a good push.
That's the greed. Talking about it. Sick finding too. It's absolutely sick by him as the defense seems to work brilliantly.
Very well
It's
done.
classic. The one taps that make it work. 2 headshots and Cutler's eliminated. Sentinels 2 rounds away from success as they could find split in their favor.
So this is the kind of aggression that TSM
I need
normally
a tap.
nail on their defensive side. Sentinels, that is literally a win-win. Because they're sending 2 players, the odds of them both getting shut down on a push are really low. You're going to get at least 1 trade frag, which they do. And the fact that Sick goes huge is a bonus. But the fact that Sentinels double push there, if TSM aren't there, means that TSM are full committing to A, and they can adjust that rotate, cordon them off, have the cut behind. Very well.
World once more has a duel with the operator going on. Mid has been heavily contested in the past few rounds. As for now, no further brimstone there in mid. Not really happy about that. And it's a bit of pressure that's on TSM for the first map.
You will not kill my allies.
Res for Sabrosa does give TSM the player advantage. That was the mid-trade again. Sabrosa really aggressive about forcing that round after round. worth blowing the Reds, of course, for this one, rather than playing even because of the round score.
Hmm. And probably one of the most enjoyable ops in form of Shazam, heading back into CT. Seems like he is moving in the right direction for the moment as TSM is building it up all onto A. Full force, and the 5 soldiers are heading on the side any second soon.
Sentinels know they have a 3-stack here on the defense. So this will just be running right. Oh no, he looks away! He's baited by the earthquake! And now Shazam's completely visioned off. He's going to try and get really aggressive.
3 seconds. Uh-oh, and this is worrying. Sinatra at the right time. He had waited until he could finally make the big blow, and that has been the big boom over on the side of A. Shazam is still alive. Shazam proves what he's worth, and that's the spike down. It's about just putting the truck down, and that clock is helping them to pick up the round. Brilliant stuff by Sinatra.
Oh my god, he gets the final close. Shout out to Subrosa. But unfortunately, it doesn't save the day. That was just a timing game. Very well played by Sentinels to just extend that for as long as possible. Shazam, I don't know how he got out of that initial push.
Right here.
He runs forward through the smoke, finds the AWP frag after he gets zoned off, and then manages to lurk behind Billboard on site and just play that positioning so well. It's moments like those that you can see exactly how long Shazam has been playing tactical shooters at a competitive level. That was just really impressive to learn about.
And as TSM already lose a player in the first few seconds, it could have been a story told. Chapter closed over here on Split. As once more, the mid-aggression from TSM tried to work out, but Sabrosa failing. A man who, by the way, is performing over average in this tournament, considering his overall statistics in past tournaments. And now it's time. It's all coming down to B. One blast pack landed, the second one as well. And the rotation should be immediate right now for Sentinels. As the ult, though, becomes a bit of a problem. Say so. Sick finds one, Sick joins and goes for more. TSM only down to Breach. And this, in this scenario, means that drone falls. And the 13-6 is inevitable.
Really, really solid round